So I'm about to cut this top nut off of the rear shock because there's no way for me to take it off. The top portion that you hold on with a wrench, it ended up twisting. I guess the metal is really soft now or something. So I'm gonna take this grinder and just chop the top off. We won't need it since we're putting in the new Bilstein 5100 shock. Comes up. How easy that was?
Yeah.
Yeah. All we do is slide on this one.
Really? You don't even gotta bolt it in?
I mean, you gotta bolt it in.
Oh.
Here, you just lower.
That's it?
Some weight on it. The bushing's on.
It's easier than coilovers, yeah?
Oh, this is just a shock, that's why.
Oh.
The front's a different story. It's not bad actually, the front.
So with the stock struts, it was at 9.5 inches, but now with the 5100s in, it's just about 10 inches. So the front is at about 7.5 inches on the driver's side. So see the other one. And on the passenger side, it's at the same at about 7.5 inches.
Okay, so I kind of got a little ahead of myself and started working. But let me just update you guys on where I'm at. So right now I'm taking off the passenger side shock. The way that I'm gonna be doing this is I'm gonna actually be cutting off the top nut since I don't have a spring compressor. Same like the rear, I'm not gonna use these shocks anymore, especially because it's blown. As you can see, it's leaking oil right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my angle grinder and chop off the nut off the top. I'm gonna add some compression to the shock with the jack, so that way it doesn't shoot down or just fall off. I'm gonna go ahead and jack up the bottom, keep some pressure on it, chop the top off, and then slowly lower the jack, and I should be able to take the top hat off without this thing exploding. So like I said, I already got everything loosened. I loosened the lower control arms so that way this has play, so I could take off the bottom mount right here, and then unbolted the ball joint down here, which gives me this free play on this arm. I will be changing all of this soon, so I'm not too worried about it. Everything's broken free and nothing seized, so hopefully we can get these changed out soon. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna take my angle grinder and cut this off right now. Okay, as you guys can see, the whole nut is gone from the top. I'm gonna go ahead and release it. Now it should be able to come out and I should be able to take the top hat off. So as you guys can see, the top hat is up there and the spring is separated from the shock. So I don't need this blown shock. Take the spring so we can put it on the new Bilstein 5100s. And then I'm gonna take this and unbolt that top hat so we can put it on the other shock. Okay guys, so this is the Bilstein 5100 front shock. I got these used, as you guys can tell, but they're still in great condition. They're not blown or anything, but these are actually height adjustable. I wouldn't call them coilovers like some people do, but they are height adjustable. So the first notch on the bottom, if you can see, if you have the C-clip on the bottom notch, that's gonna make it no lift. The second notch is gonna be like 0.8 inches. The third notch will be like 0.175, I believe, and then the top notch, the fourth notch, would be like 2.5 inch lift. So yeah, and make sure that your perch looks like this and not upside down. So people put it upside down, and when you have it that way, you're gonna be preloading the spring a lot. So make sure your perch is like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw it into the car now as soon as I put the spring on.
Okay.
Okay guys, so I'm gonna show you guys how to assemble the shock right now. So the smaller end goes on the bottom, just like this. Make sure you line up the spring perch with the spring. Make sure it sits nice and flat. Then you wanna take your top mount or your top hat, spin it until it sits flush. I believe this end lines up with that groove right there. And just take your nut, and then you tighten it down, and that's it. And then you throw it in the car.
That you're gonna put it in.
Yeah, we're gonna put the shock in. It's hard to be a commentator when doing the work. So the reason why I have the spacer still on top of the shock is because I want to keep the same lift, and I don't want to preload the spring too much because I still want the comfortable ride. So if you guys are wondering why I still have the spacer on the shock, it's because of that reason. I don't want to preload the shock too much and have a bumpy ride. I want to keep the shock spring rates and preload still comfortable while still having a lift. Finger.
You okay? You okay?
These axles are gross.
Want me to hold it?
Yeah, because you was just watching me struggle. But you were just watching me struggle.
Because you told me to record you.
Oh. So I just got the truck on the ground. Now just at first glance, it looks like the front came up a bit. Now nothing has been aligned or adjusted yet as far as alignment specs goes. So I'm gonna go ahead and just measure it out with the ruler and see if it made a difference in height wise. So before we put the shocks on, it was I think 7.5. Was it 7.5?
Yeah.
We gained like almost an inch higher.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's about 8.5 now on the driver's side. Same on the passenger side, about an inch, so 8.5. So yeah, so if you guys are wondering what the setup is on this truck, it is the Bilstein 5100s on the second notch with the OEM springs and a 3-inch spacer. The rear has I believe a 2 or 2.5 inch spring spacer, coil spacer, with the 5100s in the rear, and then there's a Fat Pats 2-inch body lift all the way around. We did trim the bumper, the fender. We did a body mount chop over there, and yeah, and it fits 33s. We want to do a 6-inch lift from an FJ on this thing once we get the money for it. But yeah, other than that, guys, let me go ahead and pull this truck out for you guys so you can get a better look at it. The front lifted up a good amount, about an inch more, which is actually pretty crazy. There is a bunch of positive camber on this side because the lower control arm bolt, the cam bolt to adjust the camber, is actually stuck in that position. I guess it's a pretty common problem on this 4th gen 4runner here. So I actually have a replacement coming in the mail, and I'll show you guys exactly how we're gonna go ahead and mess around with this and get this thing back aligned. So we will be doing a front suspension overhaul on this thing in a little bit as soon as the parts come in the mail, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully you guys are gonna be enjoying this truck video. It's gonna be a short series. There's not much that needs to be done to it, but I've had a bunch of DMs asking about this 4runner, and yeah, so again, this is what it looks like with the Bilstein 5100s installed on it with 33s. It lifted it up all the way around, and I love it. It looks so much better now with the front up in the air. Before, the rake on the front was a lot more worse. At least the truck looks a bunch more leveled out now. So yeah, guys, thanks so much for watching, guys. Give this video a big thumbs up. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay good.